Listen, man, I don't mean to keep harping on all of this stuff, but it's amazing how much has come out from the Warzone mobile game files from the closed alpha testing in the past week. Like, I'm genuinely amazed that 7+ days later, we're still getting tons of leaks in regards to Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and even some COD 2024 information. Today, we're going to be taking a look at what I can only hope is capping off the discussion here that we've had a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, talking about the gameplay features for Modern Warfare 2, clarifying a bit more in regards to the field upgrades and perks that look to be coming in Modern Warfare 2. So as we go along, drop your thoughts below. Are you liking the sound of these Modern Warfare 2 leaks? Are you a bit worried that there may be too much that's being reused? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, do be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and maybe even some COD 2024 content upcoming. We've got you covered with all of that, so if you'd like to stay in the loop with any of that and join us on the road to 500,000 subscribers, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage, the best blue light glasses on the market, but more on them in just a bit. So before we jump into everything, a sort of disclaimer here with this information comes from Reality UK, who's been pulling game files from the Warzone mobile closed alpha, as we've talked about here plenty of times in the last couple of weeks or so. But if you're wondering why this information is coming from Warzone mobile of all places, well, it kind of checks out if you follow the sort of breadcrumb trails. You got to remember that this game of Warzone mobile is launching alongside the Warzone 2 experience, or is trying to be an extension of that. Even if it launches sooner than Warzone 2, it's not going to be something that they want to tether it to a game that's then 3 years older. So they're going to have it be associated with that experience and to be the counterpart of that. Warzone 2, though, as a result, is going to be that baseline, and Warzone 2 is being built directly from Modern Warfare 2. So we're seeing a ton of crossover here, despite that sort of relation to how it all connects back being a little bit stretched across multiple projects. But it's why we're seeing things connected in any way, shape, or form at all. And finally, before I jump into all of it, unfortunately, I can't put up any images on screen for you. Leaks like this and stuff that has already been DMCA'd by Activision is intellectual property of Activision, Infinity Ward, and those associated studios. So if any information is still up and out there by the time of this publication, links can be found in the description below to check it out for yourself. But that said, let's talk about the field upgrades first. Right now, we already officially know of a handful of field upgrades from a pre-briefing that myself and a bunch of other press and creators were a part of with Infinity Ward before the reveal of Modern Warfare 2. The reveal that we ended up getting, there was stuff that was detailed for generalities like setting, obviously, campaign, some campaign gameplay that came out after that, and all that kind of stuff. We learned a lot more about multiplayer, some of the Warzone 2 experience, some of the more campaign and engine fundamentals, stuff like that. One of those things were 4 field upgrades that were detailed to us as a part of that multiplayer experience. Those being the tactical camera, similar to the Black Ops 1 camera that you could end up using, where actually it said that you can interlink these. So if you and another teammate or multiple teammates have these, you can jump between yours and your teammates. There's a drill charge, which shoots a grenade through a wall after you're done drilling through it. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The DDoS is a handheld field upgrade, which is kind of like an EMP device. It'll have a specific heads-up display that will tell you if there's equipment or vehicles that you can use it on, and it will take out that equipment and stall out vehicles. And finally, they detailed the inflatable decoy, which is manually deployable, but it's something that'll pop up when an enemy is near it and strike all kinds of different poses depending on how it actually is placed in the world itself. If it's on water, it'll strike a swimming pose. If it's underneath a table, it'll end up taking a prone pose, and all kinds of things like that. So we already knew field upgrades were returning. We already knew about some of them, but out of these leaks, we learned about a handful of others. That being Sonar Pulse, Iodine Pills, Battle Rage, the Smoke Airdrop, and unfortunately, Dead Silence. We'll talk about that in just a second, but the Sonar Pulse is a device that apparently emits a periodic radar ping for a short period of time, which is essentially your portable radar. And to me, I loved those things back in the day in Modern Warfare 3. It was phenomenal if you were a pub stomper, so it looks like those might be coming back, but as a field upgrade, so they might last for a shorter duration. They may be harder to end up achieving or longer in their earn rate perhaps, but it's not going to be something that's like a portable radar of the past where you can just have it on every single one of your classes and it might be overused to that degree. The Iodine Pills, according to their description in-game, state that they're radiation blockers. So what that means for the traditional MP experience, I don't quite know, but for a Warzone field upgrade, that actually makes a lot of sense. That could be something you could pop inside the gas and allow you to sort of have a gas mask, whereas you don't have a gas mask or something like that, combating the effects of that for a short period of time, which the prospect of potentially a Warzone-centric and exclusive field upgrade is something we'll come back to in just a second. Battle Rage rage is something that's described as an experimental stimulant that gives you an adrenaline rush, health regenerates quickly, tactical equipment is resisted, and tactical sprint is constantly refreshed. So meaning that you are a super soldier that can crank that movement dial to 12 out of 10 rather than just your 10 out of 10. This, when I first read about it, I always remembered that sort of Black Ops 2 mission where Menendez just goes absolutely insane, and that might be one of those things here like that, where you're just kind of a maniac in a sense and much harder to take down. Now, that'll be really interesting to see how that refreshes, how quickly you can get it, and all things that go along with it, because that seems pretty powerful for those that are the rushing type of players. So we'll see how that all works out. The smoke airdrop didn't have any descriptors officially with it except for an image, but it might be something that allows you to cross smokes, smoke your crosses, allowing you to get from point A to point B undetected, or at least harder to be seen by an enemy that may be watching across. We don't quite know. And then finally, dead silence. Right now, according to the game files, it looks like it's a field upgrade. This has been a long topic of discussion that has been since debated on, okay, are they going to go back to perk? Are they going to keep it field upgrade? Are they going to do both? Right now, I'm going to withhold my judgment immediately and any disappointment that comes along with it, because until we see how it actually all acts in-game, we find an actual full build of the game that's either data mined or something that's present within the beta, we just don't have the full picture just yet. And because of what we've seen this last year, we have to consider that it's possible that there may be both in-game, a perk that does that and a field upgrade. That's how Vanguard works right now. One thing that also keeps me somewhat optimistic about this is that we've discussed how in Modern Warfare 2019, while I don't think that it'll ever be explicitly confirmed, it makes sense if you consider that Dead Silence may have been created as a field upgrade, with Warzone entirely in the forefront of that topic of discussion. Warzone was meant to be that additional game mode, nothing more extending past Modern Warfare 2019 upon its creation. It was never planned to be free to play, standalone, and lasting multiple years. It was only reusing assets from multiplayer and those gameplay features, so if you're using Dead Silence in Warzone, it would absolutely be broken in Warzone as a perk. So I imagine that was a heavy hand in that decision to make it a field upgrade rather than a perk, a limited use thing. But with Warzone 2, we're now well aware of those things ahead of time. They're aware of the community concerns, so while Vanguard's already demonstrated it, it's definitely possible that we could see a Warzone-centric Dead Silence field upgrade, but also a dampening or muting perk within the traditional multiplayer experience that is kind of disassociated from each other. And again, maybe that iodine pill field upgrade is something that makes sense, where that may be another Warzone exclusive field upgrade. We just don't have the full picture at the moment. Now, that said, moving off of the field upgrades topic of discussion, let's talk about perks briefly. And we've talked a lot about perks, but there's just been a little bit more added to the discussion here, a couple of perks that were found that are new, and a couple of things to add to the discussion here with this. We talked about the full perk list that did actually leak out from the Warzone mobile game files, and just running down that briefly again, that's Amped, Battle Hardened, Cold-Blooded, EOD, Ghost, Hardline, High Alert, Kill Chain, Overkill, Quick Fix, Restock, Scavenger, Shrapnel, Spotter, and Tracker. All of those actually have new icons associated with them and their Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 counterparts. So if you guys want to check that out, link is in the description below. But then we also have Pitcher, Extra Tactical, Focus, Double Time, Tune Up, Survivor, Overcharge, and what's called Overwatch that does not have any icons associated with it. So you have a lot of returning perks and a couple of brand new ones. Right now, it seems like Overwatch may be the naming for Specialist. It has strings of code associated with it that says perk package, which assumes that it's not just a standalone perk, but instead is something that's more overarching, which is pretty cool. Although admittedly, how much I loved Specialist back in like Modern Warfare 3, I didn't really use it all that much within Modern Warfare 2018, and I don't know if that's just me or not, but regardless, we have a handful of new perks here associated with that. One thing that was interesting out of this was we got some descriptions of each of these perks actually leaked as well from the game files. Restock looks to have an incorrect description. Right now it says recharging equipment over 25 seconds, spawning with an extra lethal, explosive damage, delays enemy healing. But that's kind of just Restock mixed with Shrapnel, so don't know how that all works out. But then you have some things that really kind of stir the pot a little bit, because you have perks like Focus that are in the game files, which increase holding breath time with reducing sway and flinch when ADS. If we're taking regular weapon perks and making them overall perks, does this then kind of bolster out just filler perks, or does this then lead into the rumor right now that we have two perks in tier 1 that are more so game style perks? They're not necessarily just things that alter certain scenarios, but instead are more so tethered to the operator overall and are sort of more overarching abilities more than anything else. We'll see how it all works out, but I'm definitely curious to see where this all leads to. The perk discussion in and of itself is a perfect example of where my concerns come into play with Modern Warfare 2. Here's the thing. I absolutely understand that Modern Warfare Warfare 2 is piggybacking off the success and all the gameplay features that we saw within Modern Warfare 2018. That's one of the things that the earliest inside reports we heard was that there's just more of Modern Warfare 2019. But when you think about how many perks are exactly the same here coming from Modern Warfare 2019 to potentially Modern Warfare 2, it's a little bit worrisome in the stale factor, where you jump on and in the beta, it might even still feel way too familiar. Yes, you want a uniform feeling to a degree, but you don't want it to the point where it loses that interest of potentially learning something new and having new abilities to play around with. Granted, Call of Duty has a lot of perks that are baseline things that have been there and present for years on end that just get subtle naming changes or subtle adjustments to the perks and how they work, but when you take a look at 17 perks that are coming from Modern Warfare 2018 to potentially Modern Warfare 2, that is just a lot of crossover. And again, there's probably a lot of factors here that we're just not privy to just yet. That potential 2 perks in Tier 1 category thing. Potentially all of this could just be Warzone 2 stuff, and being that it is built from Modern Warfare 2, it has to have the associated IW9 tag. We don't quite know. There's a lot of variables here that could give a lot more clarity that just right now we don't have in front of us. But while I enjoyed Modern Warfare 2019, I do hope that there's still enough of an air of brand new stuff on top of it. So that said, that's what we're going to call it. That is the newest and updated things for field upgrades and perks within Modern Warfare 2. Before we go, though, reminder, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage. I know that we've talked about them plenty of times here on the channel in the last year and a half or so, and I'll still swear by them. I'm at my PC working on it like 10 hours a day here or so, so I've always felt the effects of blue light over the years, staring at a monitor for that long, for prolonged periods of time. If you're like me, you work on your PC, you watch a lot of TV, you game a lot, you're even just on your phone a decent bit per day, there's a chance that you may be familiar with the effects of blue light as well. Combating that is something I've always struggled with, but Gamer Advantage absolutely saves the day, and I'd say they're even my advantage here in my day-to-day. They're the most comfortable, durable, and lightweight frames out there, and make them a great choice for all-day use, and their clinically proven lenses are top-notch. I personally can't convey the science behind it as best as they can. Check the link in the description below if you guys want to learn more, but if you guys would like to pick something up for yourself, invest in your long-term vision health, use code ESPRESSO for 10% off your entire order. But that said, that's what we're going to wrap it up, so I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Are you guys liking the sound of these field upgrades and perks potentially coming to Modern Warfare 2? Or are you like me, where you may have some concerns with how much is actually coming that is reused and from Modern Warfare 2019 directly? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below, but if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2 and anything COD related. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.